Ramona, thank you so much for joining me today to share a little bit about your story, your background, your business, talk about 2020 and the fun year that it's been for everybody. But if you don't mind, maybe just tell me a little bit about yourselves and what brought you to franchising.
We had moved down here to Georgia from the New England area when Brian got a big promotion with Coca-Cola. So he was corporate America. I was a school teacher. I was teaching virtually before virtual teaching needed to be a reality. And I finished that out. And we were really looking for an opportunity to do something that allowed us to still be impactful in the community, give us the flexibility to be in control of our own destiny, to build a legacy for our family, and give us, something we could partner together to do, to build. So we started thinking about all the things that we know how to do, what things that we like to do, and looked at 100 different kind of possibilities, I'd say, on our own. And the farther we got into it, the more we realized that we didn't know what we didn't know. And that's when we found Leslie Kuban at FranNet. And it really was a huge blessing for us because, we thought, oh, maybe a tutoring business because I had a teaching background, or maybe something landscaping because my dad had been a landscaper, or maybe food because we both like to cook and to eat. And the more we sat down with her to kind of talk about really what was our vision for our quality of life and that work-life balance and what we wanted to do and really what we wanted to do in our community, the more we realized that all the things we thought were a good fit for us really just weren't. And that's when she introduced us to Money Pages.
Awesome. No, that's a great story. So Brian, tell us a little bit more. It sounds like you got a promotion that led you guys to relocate. Are you still working in the corporate world, or are you full-time with Money Pages now?
I'm full-time with Money Pages. I spent over 30 years in the food business. Started at entry level and worked my way up to director of sales for Coca-Cola. Spent a lot of years in the food business, and it's always been one of my dreams to own my own business. And my dad kind of led the way growing up and did that. Left corporate America and went and had his own small business. So I'd always wanted to do that. I had exposure to it. And the great thing for me was, having spent 30 years in corporate America, I had all this, management experience and marketing experience, so that when we worked with Leslie, Money Pages was a great fit once she brought it to us. So for us, with teaching and sales, it was a good fit. And Ramona started it first. I stayed at Coca-Cola. I actually left Coke and went to another company and was their VP of sales locally here, while Mona built the kind of first magazine in Kennesaw to 16 pages. And then once she got to 24, we needed a second salesperson. So I always knew that I'd need to come on board at some point or hire someone. And I'm a salesperson, so I didn't trust anyone else. So I want to do it myself. But Ramona built it to a point where we needed someone else pretty quickly. And I only spent a year at this other company locally because I was tired of traveling for Coke, all over the country. But, she built it locally, and I had to leave that, I left that company within a year and it was more of a 3-year plan, but it worked out that I could come on a lot sooner, and then COVID hit.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that's a question everybody, that might be viewing this video would want to know is, okay, what's it like to start a business? So when did you guys actually launch Money Pages? It was in 2019, right?
Our first issue was April of 2019. We opened the business in December of 2018 and then went through the process. And I think we had our first training in January and took a few months to sell in the clients to build the client mix so that we had enough to print in April.
Okay, so you had about a year under your belt, and then COVID kind of reared its head, and how did that affect your business?
Well, When it first hit, we partner with a lot of small to mid-sized businesses. As we mentioned, we wanted to pick something that would be impactful in our community. We both are children of small business owners. So when COVID hit, it really hit a lot of other people much harder than it hit us to begin with. And what was one of the beautiful things about being a Money Pages franchise is that our corporate level support is just unparalleled, and they really give us a lot of flexibility, and they gave us a lot of support through that. So we were able to pivot, as much as everybody hates that word now that it's been used so much over this long period of time, but we were able to pivot to be able to help our business partners either postpone their campaigns, change their message. Some of them we even helped change their business model to help them stay in business. And so that first month was a little bit, but literally the very next month we jumped to 32 pages because nobody was leaving their house. So billboards and radio and all those other kinds of things were relevant. The social media onslaught was, you were just, a grain of sand on the beach, whereas direct mail was something that was really hugely impactful for a lot of small businesses. Some of our business partners, like our local Culver's, attributes 15.6 of their overall business to their coupon return from our magazine. So we were able to be effective and affordable partners to our community to help them grow. And during this time too, we've found some of our larger partners have since also tacked on formal social media campaigns, some digital campaigns, targeted display with adjustable geofencing that complement their print. So we've actually managed to grow in what we offer and provide through our corporate here locally. So that was the next step for us, which was pretty big, and grow in our page count and grow in our relationships and our trust levels with our partners, because we've really helped a lot of them to stay in business.
And that's amazing. I think a lot of the stories that people hear today are more on the other end of the spectrum, where, they hear about all the negativity, but there are, plenty of businesses out there. And, hats off to Leslie for finding something that fits you and that's impactful and also has the ability to grow, during such a crazy, crazy year. So tell me a little bit more about, you said you've had some impact in the community. Now, any other great stories like that you're able to share with us?
Well, one of my companies that we started with actually was a window company. And when I first started working with them, they're a family-owned business. They've been around for a long time. They're, 5-star rated company in the area. And they were in a little rental space. And they started with us with the print and from our first issue, actually. So they've been partners with us since day one. And they actually were somebody I met with today. And they are now coupling that with a new web design. They just tacked on some geofencing digital, and through all of this, with their growth through us, they actually bought their own building and now have their own showroom. They added additional trucks, they hired additional people, which has been phenomenal because they're a local business that provides jobs for people, and they do a quality service. So that was really a great thing for us as well. We have several new businesses that they launched new businesses, and they're up and running successfully because of us. So that's been really pretty great too. And we've also, been able to utilize our magazine and our voice in the community to promote things like Blue Thanksgiving that supports police officers and other charity organizations and charitable events. We're sponsors of things like Big Shanty Festival, which here locally is sponsored through one of the business associations we belong to and supports local schools, near and dear to my heart, former teacher. So we've been able to do a lot of those type of things with this opportunity. So there's so much more to small business ownership than just owning a small business. So, and there's so many opportunities, and, we're just so grateful because Leslie really was super patient with us, wasn't she, hon?
Yeah, she was great.
How many do you think she walked us through before we decided on Money Pages?
A lot. It was a lot, and we met with her a lot. But what I liked about working with FranNet is just the process that you guys take and that Leslie took with, having us fill out the the information ahead of time on what we liked individually, separate, and then Leslie put it together and said, this is what lines up with both of you. And I thought that was a good, a nice approach, because it allows for individual, so that you can check the individual boxes of things that you like, plus you're marrying them up with, things Ramona liked, so that when we came together, Leslie was like, this, and this, and we were like, yeah, but not that one, and we're not going to put a mosquito hunter guy's hat on, so we're not going to do that, because it was outdoors and it was kind of like landscaping. But I'm like, yeah, I don't see us doing that one, but maybe this gym one, or maybe this this other one. But we didn't want a brick and mortar. We came down to just working from the home and building it from there. So it's been
okay. So Brian, I have a question that I think a lot of people will probably be interested in your perspective on something. What was it like to make that transition from a big company, a big corporation like Coca-Cola, and now being in business ownership for yourself? What was that transition like for you?
Well, it was eye-opening, number one, because I knew nothing about owning and opening up a small business. Now, we used Fran Fund, which is a group not affiliated with you guys, that helped us, transition some funds into a corporate environment so that we could purchase the franchise. So that was a big help. But business licenses and all the different aspects, I had no idea. And here I am working for $1 billion company, but I don't work as the CFO or an accountant within those companies. So it was very eye-opening. So that was kind of a struggle just to get that up and running. But the transition personally from being a VP of sales, managing like 40 people, or a director of sales at Coca-Cola, managing the whole country for juice, because that was my role, and traveling all over the country, to now I'm traveling to individual small businesses, and I don't have the Coke name, as clout. It was a little bit different. But I think that we chose wisely when we picked Money Pages, because both Ramona and myself, our personalities are geared towards people like us. And I think that's important when you're running a business and it's your own business, that people like you. There's some salespeople out there that, people would rather say, hey, go to the next. But, because we can walk in and we can relate, and we're passionate about what we do, and we want to give back to the community, and we truly want to help people, and they feel that, and, they want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And that's been eye-opening as well. But the transition, it was a rough transition. You're not getting that attention as, oh, you're the VP of sales and you're all this important guy, but you get over it, and you move on, and it's just different boxes getting checked, for yourself at this point in your career. So
sure.
Well, I think for me, with him transitioning, it definitely, to watch it be where there literally were about 850 emails a day coming to his phone, because everybody wants a piece of the national director, to now you're the person who's pursuing people. That was a shift for him. But to really let him be vested in a community rather than here, there, and everywhere, and know your neighbors and know the people who make your pizza and wash your car and cut your hair, and on a whole different level. And as much as he says people like us, we like people. Former teacher, I've lived my life on It Takes a Village. This is my village, and to be able to get to know and connect with them has been really amazing. But to really be able to have that ability to have a quality of work-life balance has been huge for him, and to be in control of your own destiny and not have to worry about what corporate shift is going to happen this month, especially too when you are someone like my husband, who has worked hard, built his career, is very well experienced, and has achieved that level. Now corporate America is going, oh, I can hire 3 kids for cheaper to do that, and they don't necessarily value experience, whatever. And even though you're amazingly effective in your role, you're at the mercy of somebody else's goals for their budget and goals for their whatever. And to not have that ongoing stress has been amazing. And on a more personal level, we recently had a situation where, and I'm totally going to share right now, babe. My father-in-law, his dad lives with us, and he had a massive heart attack 3 weeks ago. And truly, we're still, on the way to recover. Thank you, Jesus, that we have that ability to be able to say that. But in the amount of time that we've had to take to be able to be there, paying attention to his care and helping him feel comfortable, we wouldn't have had that kind of flexibility with anything else other than our own business. And that's been such a blessing. And amidst that too, our oldest son got married in New England. So to be able to have that ability to be there for your family in ways that a 9-to-5 job that is dictated to you by somebody else sets the parameters for is just such a gift,
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that for sure. Well, so I have a final question. I asked you for a little bit of time, and you've been very generous, obviously, even a second time around here. What advice would the two of you have for somebody who may be in that spot where you were a while back when you started looking into those hundreds of different ideas that are out there? What advice would you have for those aspiring entrepreneurs?
My advice would be open-minded. I said it before, you don't know what you don't know, and the people at FranNet do. And they've been an amazing source of support to us from the beginning of our research to closing, and signing on the dotted line to start our new franchise and beyond that. Leslie has been supportive in, helping me connect with different business associations and networking and, and exposure experiences, and just keeping in touch to follow up with what you need and the other plans and pieces that FranNet offers as far as managing like 401k and all that kind of stuff is just one thing we don't have to worry about. And there are experts at this. And as somebody new to small business, you might be an expert at making pizza. You might be an expert at sales. You might be an expert at this. But if you've never done this before, you're not an expert at starting your own business. And FranNet really is. So be open-minded to the different opportunities they present to you, because what you think you may want to do may not be what really is going to meet your life goals from a financial and a personal standpoint. So just keep that in mind as they're talking to you about different things.
And I'll just add that.
Great advice. How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I'll just add that Mona's right. Like, the process that FranNet takes, we would have never known or chosen money pages probably on our own. But just to walk through with Leslie and be able to understand, taking the survey and understanding each of our kind of how we line up, and Leslie bringing businesses that we would have never have thought of was crucial to us making decisions on whether to go forward, because everyone struggles with the leap, right? The leap from going from corporate America and kind of working for, the man, so to speak, and then working for yourself. It's risky and it's painful and you're nervous and, now you're responsible for your own income. So it's a big leap of faith and a big risk, but I would say make sure as you're working with FranNet, you're picking the ones that fit you very well, even though you might not be comfortable with it, because you can learn. And these franchise systems, pick a good system that has good, a good team behind it that's going to help you along, because you're going to learn from scratch about a new business. And that has helped us a lot. And that's what's, enabled us to be successful. But, it's worth taking that leap of faith and that risk, because, the FranNet system works very well at choosing for you.
Yeah, I would tack a little bit onto that, in that, when you think about small business ownership, everybody wants to own their own business. And that's great, but statistically speaking, most of the ones that people open on their own as a little mom and pop thing really struggle. And especially we've seen it even more so now with the unique circumstances that 2020 has brought. But all of the franchises that Leslie presented to us were established, proven systems. There's something to be said about not reinventing the wheel. And the companies that FranNet partners with that we were exposed to were all quality companies with a support system, with very clear things in place on how to support their franchise owners. And I think that that's an important consideration and a benefit that a lot of people don't necessarily consider when they're thinking about new small business ownership. They think, I want it to be mine. Well, a franchise is yours. It truly is yours. And as long as you're really recognizing that survey, and you got to be honest in that survey, of what your goals are. Like, do you really want to get up to open up a restaurant at 5 a.m. every day? I don't think you do if you're not a morning person. So really, truly. So really, you need to be honest, with what you want and what your goals are, and realize that there are franchises out there that will fit you, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You really don't. And for us, having started this, if we were on our own without the support of our corporate, I don't know that we'd be sitting here talking to you still. But instead, we're thriving. So I'm just really grateful for the franchise opportunity and to FranNet for helping us fulfill our dream. Thank you.
Well, I'll say, I know Leslie has probably said, but I'll say on behalf of everybody at FranNet, we're thankful to be able to work with you and hear such a great story of not just surviving, but thriving through 2020. It's been a very challenging year for everyone. And regardless of how many pivots you've had to make,
Yeah.
it has just been a very interesting year. And to hear such a positive story like this, it's encouraging. I think it's very encouraging for a lot of people that, perhaps they're on the fence and thinking about, is this the time that they actually take that leap that you talked about, Brian, that leap of faith in business ownership. And, we're here and happy to help at FranNet. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate the two of you blocking out time to visit with us and share a little bit about your story. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Chris, thank you.